Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in life when the ordinary won't work anymore. A moment when the waiting season ends and the door you've been staring at finally swings open. That moment is now. The final shift is here. Shifts bring transformation, not comfort, into place when you choose yourself. A shift by its very nature disrupts the familiar rhythm you have settled into. It demands a response that often feels uncomfortable because it challenges the patterns, relationships, and environments that have defined you. When you choose yourself in the middle of that shift, you are saying yes to growth even though it unsettles you. Comfort zones create illusions of safety, but transformation is birthed when you step beyond those boundaries. Choosing yourself means you acknowledge that the version of you that was content with the old cannot carry the weight of the new. Transformation comes through tension. It is the friction between who you are and who you are becoming. Shifts are the divine interruptions that force you to evaluate whether you are willing to pay the price for progress. Comfort seeks to preserve the present, while transformation demands you risk stepping into the unknown. Choosing yourself in this moment means valuing your future over your fears. It is the willingness to walk away from validation, approval, or the expectations of others so that you can align with the higher call within you. When a shift occurs, it never asks for your convenience. It pulls you into situations where faith has to be exercised and patience tested. You will find yourself in spaces where old habits no longer work, old attitudes no longer fit, and old excuses sound hollow. This is because transformation is designed to make you stretch. The shift is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Comfort would rather keep you in circles, repeating the same cycles of doubt and delay. Transformation, however, insists that you graduate. To choose yourself in the shift is to decide that you are worth the discomfort of change. Shifts bring transformation when you stop waiting for permission from others to grow. Too often, people remain stuck because they are afraid of disappointing those who benefited from their smaller version. But every shift confronts you with a question. Will you shrink to fit, or will you expand to fulfill? Choosing yourself means refusing to shrink. It is a radical act of self-belief, a declaration that your purpose is greater than the comfort of conformity. Transformation is activated when you stop asking who will walk with you and start walking because the journey belongs to you. Comfort whispers, stay here. It's safe. Transformation declares, move forward, it's necessary. Shifts strip away the illusions that safety offers, revealing that stagnation is far more dangerous than change. The discomfort of transformation is temporary, but the reward of living authentically is eternal. Choosing yourself in the middle of that process builds resilience. You learn that rejection is not the end, that uncertainty is not a threat, and that the pain of stretching is proof of growth. Shifts bring transformation because they require you to confront your identity. Who are you without the opinions of others? Who are you when the routines you relied on no longer hold? In the silence of transition, you discover your true voice. Comfort keeps you muted. Transformation amplifies your authenticity. Choosing yourself means embracing that voice, trusting it enough to guide you through uncharted territory. Every step you take outside the familiar strengthens the new version of you being born. The final shift breaks limitations into place when you choose yourself. Limitations are often invisible chains that hold you in cycles of fear, doubt, and hesitation. They whisper that you are not enough, that you do not have what it takes, or that your past disqualifies your future. But when the final shift arrives, those chains cannot remain intact. It carries with it the power to dismantle barriers that seemed immovable. Choosing yourself in that moment is what activates the breakthrough, because no external shift can change you until you decide internally that you will no longer agree with your limitations. Every limitation carries a story. Some are inherited from family patterns, others built through disappointments, and many reinforced by voices that spoke against your potential. The final shift comes to rewrite that story, but it requires your cooperation. You must choose yourself by rejecting the narrative that told you to stay small. Transformation cannot happen until you believe you are worthy of it. The shift is the opportunity, but your decision is the key that unlocks it. When you choose yourself, you dismantle the power of limitation because you refuse to let your past or people define your possibilities. The final shift does not negotiate with mediocrity. It exposes the ways you have settled and tolerated less than what was destined for you. Limitations thrive in comfort zones, but the shift disrupts that environment. It confronts the excuses that kept you safe but stagnant. Choosing yourself is the declaration that you are done living under ceilings that others have built. It is the refusal to keep rehearsing failure when the stage is set for victory. The shift becomes real when you step up with the boldness to claim it. Breaking limitations is not about denying challenges. It is about refusing to be imprisoned by them. Obstacles may remain, but the mindset changes. Where you once said, "I can't," you now declare, "I will." Choosing yourself in the final shift means you are willing to see beyond what is visible and trust that what is possible is greater than what is present. The limitation of fear loses its grip when faith rises. The limitation of doubt dissolves when confidence is chosen. The limitation of waiting for others disappears when you accept that you are the one responsible for your breakthrough. The final shift creates collisions between old limitations and new opportunities. That collision will test whether you truly believe in yourself. Choosing yourself requires courage because limitations often masquerade as security. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. All of these are limitations dressed as protection. But when you step into the shift, you realize the walls were never as strong as you thought. They only had power because you agreed with them. Choosing yourself is tearing up the contract you signed with smallness and writing a new agreement with destiny. The beauty of the final shift is that once limitations break, they cannot reattach unless you invite them back. The chains may rattle, but they are no longer locked. Choosing yourself ensures that you walk free, that you embrace new levels without apology, and that you silence the voices that try to remind you of who you were. The final shift is permanent when you decide that nothing and no one will convince you to return to what you have outgrown. The limitations that bound you yesterday have no authority over the person you choose to be today. You can't hold on to the past and the future at the same time. Into place when you choose yourself. The past is familiar, a record of what you have seen, done, and endured. It carries both the comfort of memory and the weight of mistakes. The future, however, is possibility, unwritten, waiting to be shaped by the choices you make now. When you attempt to grip both, you create tension that paralyzes movement. The final shift requires a release, a deliberate decision to let go of what was, so that what is coming can be embraced. Choosing yourself in this moment is the act of loosening your grip on the old identity and daring to step into the one that is waiting for you. The past often feels safer because it is known. Even painful experiences can become comfortable because they are predictable. People cling to disappointment, regret, or even toxic relationships simply because they have learned how to survive them. But survival is not destiny. The future calls you to thrive, to expand beyond the patterns that once defined you. Choosing yourself means refusing to be anchored to a history that cannot carry you forward. The past may inform you, but it cannot transform you. The future is the place of transformation, but it only unlocks when you make the decision to let go of yesterday's hold. Holding on to the past keeps you rehearsing the same story. You replay failures, betrayals, and missed opportunities until they form a cage around your vision. You see through the lens of what happened instead of what can happen. The final shift requires you to break that cycle. When you choose yourself, you stop giving your past permission to define your identity. You recognize that the lessons are valuable, but the labels are not permanent. What you did is not who you are, and who you were is not who you must remain. The shift pulls you into alignment with a future that demands new vision, not recycled memories. The future cannot coexist with hands full of the past. It requires open palms, a willingness to receive without fear of loss. Choosing yourself in this transition is the decision to believe that your best days are not behind you but ahead. The relationships, opportunities, and growth you are called to will not fit into the old mold. The past version of you may not have been ready, but the present version of you, strengthened by experience, is. Letting go of the past is not dismissal of what was. It is honor through release, allowing it to remain where it belongs so that you can move forward freely. When you try to carry both past and future, the weight becomes unbearable. You stall because your energy is divided. One hand pulls you backward while the other tries to reach forward, leaving you suspended in frustration. Choosing yourself breaks that stalemate. It means you decide that the future deserves your full commitment, your full focus, and your full energy. The past will always be part of your story, but it cannot be the script for your future. Every step into tomorrow requires the courage to travel light, unburdened by yesterday's baggage. Choosing yourself in the final shift also means giving yourself permission to outgrow environments, people, and versions of yourself that no longer fit. The past may hold people who only knew you in limitation, who cannot comprehend your evolution. If you cling to their expectations, you forfeit your future. But when you release their grip, you claim the right to evolve without apology. You honor the process of becoming. The past can remain a teacher, but it cannot remain a master. The future is the new classroom, the place where the next lessons are waiting, and you cannot enter it until you let go of what you've already graduated from. Faith is required for every shift into place when you choose yourself. A shift always carries uncertainty because it moves you from what is known to what is not yet revealed. The future you are stepping into does not show you all its details in advance. It asks you to walk without a map, to trust a vision that is not fully visible. Faith becomes the bridge between where you are and where you are called to be. Choosing yourself in this context means trusting that you are equipped for the unknown, even when you cannot see every step. Without faith, fear takes control. With faith, courage rises to meet the challenge of transformation. Every shift demands a level of belief that exceeds your current reality. It requires you to see with spiritual eyes when physical evidence seems lacking. Faith is not denial of obstacles, but confidence that obstacles cannot deny your destiny. When the shift arrives, resistance will try to convince you that you are not ready. Doubt will replay every insecurity, but faith silences those voices and anchors you to the conviction that if the door has opened, you were meant to walk through it. Choosing yourself is the act of saying yes to that conviction, even if circumstances have not yet aligned. Faith carries you through the in-between spaces. Shifts are rarely instantaneous. They involve a process. The old has ended, but the new has not fully manifested. This gap can be disorienting, a wilderness where clarity seems distant. In that place, comfort cannot sustain you. Only faith can. Faith becomes the fuel that pushes you forward when logic says stop. It assures you that progress is happening even when it feels invisible. Choosing yourself in the midst of that process is a declaration that you trust the journey, even when you cannot predict the outcome. The necessity of faith in a shift is also tied to identity. Transformation requires you to see yourself not as you were, but as you are becoming. Faith helps you embrace that new identity before it is fully realized. It is believing you are capable before you see the results. It is walking as though the promise is fulfilled while it is still unfolding. Choosing yourself through faith is not arrogance. It is alignment with purpose. It is agreeing with the vision placed inside you, even when others cannot yet recognize it. Shifts test the strength of faith by removing familiar supports. People you once relied on may not understand the direction you are taking. Systems that once held you up may no longer fit your growth. In that stripping away, faith becomes your anchor. It reminds you that even if external support falls away, internal conviction can carry you. Choosing yourself is acknowledging that faith within is stronger than the approval you lose. The shift becomes possible because you believe more in what is ahead than in what you are leaving behind. Faith also breaks the illusion of timing. Many hesitate to embrace shifts because they are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect alignment of conditions. But faith steps forward without waiting for perfection. Faith knows that waiting for certainty often means missing destiny. Choosing yourself means choosing to move when called, not when comfortable. The shift honors those who act in faith, not those who wait for guarantees. Each step taken in belief creates momentum, and momentum opens the doors that hesitation keeps closed. The reality of every shift is that fear will always whisper, but faith will always lead. When you choose yourself, you make the conscious decision to let faith be the louder voice. It does not eliminate fear, but it minimizes its influence. Faith transforms uncertainty into opportunity and weakness into strength. Every major shift in life is powered not by resources, not by perfection, but by belief. Choosing yourself means deciding to trust that belief and walking into the unknown with confidence that you will not only survive the shift, but thrive in it. The final shift demands action into place when you choose yourself. A shift may open the door, but it does not walk you through it. Opportunity without action becomes wasted potential. The final shift is not just about recognizing change, it is about responding to it. Action is the proof that you have chosen yourself. It is the evidence that you are no longer content to dream about transformation, but willing to embody it. Without action, the shift remains theoretical, an unfulfilled promise. Choosing yourself means you step beyond intention into movement, beyond desire into decision, beyond waiting into doing. Action is the dividing line between those who talk about change and those who experience it. The final shift presses you to make choices that align with your destiny instead of your fears. Waiting for perfect clarity, perfect timing, or perfect resources becomes a trap that keeps you stuck in the old. The shift does not require perfection. It requires obedience to the call of progress. When you choose yourself, you understand that small steps matter as much as big leaps. Every action becomes a seed that grows into transformation. Action also disrupts the paralysis of doubt. Fear thrives in stillness, but it loses power when confronted with movement. The final shift demands that you act even when you feel unprepared. Confidence does not always precede action. Often it is born in the middle of it. Choosing yourself in this moment means giving yourself permission to begin before you feel ready. It is recognizing that progress is a process, and that motion itself builds the momentum you need. The shift is activated not by waiting for the absence of fear, but by moving despite it. The necessity of action is also tied to responsibility. No one else can live your purpose for you. Others may encourage, support, or guide, but only you can walk in your destiny. The final shift places the responsibility squarely in your hands. Choosing yourself means you stop outsourcing your growth to the approval of others. It means you stop waiting for someone else to push you when you are capable of pushing yourself. The act of moving forward, no matter how uncertain, is a declaration of ownership over your future. The final shift demands action because faith without works remains incomplete. Believing in change is essential, but belief alone does not move mountains, action does. Every breakthrough recorded in history required someone to step forward, to risk failure, to act when hesitation was easier. Choosing yourself means you commit to acting consistently, not just when it feels convenient. Action turns vision into reality and separates those who only hope for transformation from those who actually live it. Taking action also means confronting the excuses that kept you stagnant. Comfort often disguises itself as logic, convincing you that now is not the right time. But the final shift does not wait for comfort. It demands urgency. Choosing yourself requires you to override excuses with execution. Even small, imperfect steps carry you further than endless preparation. Each action creates clarity, and each decision builds strength. The path becomes clearer as you walk it, not before. Action in the final shift is not about frantic movement, but intentional choices. It is about aligning your behavior with your belief, your daily habits with your destiny. Choosing yourself means evaluating how your actions either reinforce the past or create the future. Every step you take toward growth confirms that you are committed to becoming the version of yourself that the shift requires. The transformation you long for will not meet you halfway until you first decide to move. The final shift demands it, and your choice to act secures it. This is your defining moment into place when you choose yourself. Life is a collection of moments, but not all moments carry the same weight. Some moments are ordinary, passing with little impact, while others become turning points that shape the direction of your entire journey. A defining moment is when the choices you make echo far beyond the present, carving out the identity you will carry into the future. The final shift brings such a moment, a crossroads where hesitation or boldness determines whether you step into destiny or remain confined by comfort. Choosing yourself in this space is acknowledging that this moment demands your full presence, your full courage, and your full commitment. A defining moment reveals who you are when the pressure rises. It strips away distractions and forces you to confront the core of your belief system. Do you truly believe in the vision set before you? Do you believe you are capable of becoming more than what you have been? The answers are not in words, but in actions. This is why choosing yourself is critical. Because in the defining moment, no one else's approval, opinion, or permission can substitute for your own decision to move forward. This moment becomes defining because it separates your past from your future. It draws a line in the sand and asks you to step across it. The excuses, fears, and regrets that once dictated your choices cannot travel into what comes next. To choose yourself is to cross over, to declare that your identity will not be chained to yesterday. Every defining moment demands sacrifice, the willingness to release what is familiar in order to embrace what is necessary. Choosing yourself is the courage to make that sacrifice, even when it feels costly. Defining moments are also magnifiers. They reveal strengths you did not know you possessed and expose weaknesses you must address. The shift does not arrive to flatter you, but to grow you. Choosing yourself means you face those revelations without denial or shame. You embrace the refining process because you know it is preparing you for greater. What you confront here becomes the foundation of resilience for the future. You will never see yourself the same after a defining moment because it awakens you to the reality of what you are truly capable of. In the silence of a defining moment, time seems to pause. You sense the weight of decision pressing on you. And though others may not notice it, you know that the outcome of this choice will echo for years to come. Choosing yourself is recognizing that this is not a trial run. This is the real thing. You may not control every circumstance, but you do control your response. This is where identity is solidified, where purpose is confirmed, where destiny is embraced. A defining moment gives you the chance to become the author of your own story rather than a spectator in it. The importance of this moment is not in its size, but in its impact. Sometimes it is a public decision that others witness, and sometimes it is a private vow made in the quiet of your own heart. Either way, its significance is measured by how it alters your direction. Choosing yourself in this defining moment ensures that the future unfolding ahead of you is authentic, purposeful, and aligned with who you were created to be. It transforms this point in time into a launching pad rather than a stopping point. This is your defining moment because it demands clarity, courage, and choice. The shift has positioned you here, but only you can step into it. Choosing yourself means declaring that you are ready, that hesitation will not rob you, and that destiny will not be delayed. What you decide in this moment will set the tone for everything that follows. You cannot outsource it, you cannot avoid it, and you cannot diminish it. It is yours and it is here.